Okay, so welcome everybody to the Cinema for the Culture online edition. My name is Mojisola Shinoiki, and I'm the founder of the African Film and Arts Foundation, producers of Cinema for the Culture. Today, we have the whole of Nollywood here. Literally. So we're pleased to have some of the cast and crew of the film Lara The Beat. We have director Tosin Coker, cinematographer Harold Escotet, actresses and actors Seyi Shay. Oh, well, Shay's not on yet, but she's going to be here. Somkele Iyamah, Kemi Lala Akindoju, Ada Folu Ogunkeye, Folu Storms, and then Akan Nani and Demola Adedoyin, who are actors in the film, should be joining us too. Moderating this evening is Tosin Coker of V103 here in Atlanta. And thank you everybody for coming. African Film and Arts Foundation is a 501c3 non-profit media arts organization. Our mission is to create a platform to promote, showcase, and support content that depicts Africa and its diaspora family in all its brilliance. We aim to be at the center of networking between African content creators and the rest of the world, buyers, distribution platforms. One of our main goals as well at the foundation is to engage the younger generation in discussions around film production, as they are the future storytellers. With that being said, I have one of our interns who's helping us in the background. So Margaret, say hi.
Hi.
Margaret Teeley, she's one of our interns at the foundation. She's helping in the background. So before we go into the conversation, we are going to play the trailer. The trailer is about 2 minutes. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, you all see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Could you all mute yourselves, please? And I'm going to play it. Here goes.
Do I look like Rihanna? No. Do I look like your mama? No. Do I look like Beyonce? No. Wait, that was it? Yeah, Lara Giwa featuring Drake. It makes sense. We're rich. Today is the day. What? Today's the
Can you not share this moment with your social media followers?
Excuse me, I'm gonna need them one day. All 3 million of them.
Star Beauty Day. I can't make it. We have a board meeting in the office tomorrow.
As a result of Giwa Media's refusal to perform their civic responsibility, the warrant of restraint on the building and everything inside it has been obtained by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. We would like everyone in this building to vacate it with immediate effect. Lara,
You just don't have anywhere to go.
Let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go. On my feet, I'm on the ground. On my knees, begging, please, set me free.
You deserve this.
Of course you are. Lara, you are.
I came here for a record deal. Are you gonna make a superstar?
Plus, I also produce with Big T over here.
Was it that bad?
I really hope that your album blows it because poverty is not interesting at all.
The parents believed in something different, and I wanted to be a part of that. I believed you and your sister could accomplish whatever you set your heart on, as long as you had each other. I believe that too. God has a plan for all of us, and you and your sister have a place in that plan.
There you have it. I'll stop sharing now. You can all mute. That was brilliant. So now we're going to hand you over to Ose, and then I'll come back at the end. So nice to see all of you, and thank you all for being here.
Nice to see you
Thanks,
too.
Moji.
Ose,
Thank you.
over to you.
Thank you, Moji. So first and foremost, congratulations to all of you. You've done an excellent job. I know we have about 90 minutes, and I wanted to just acknowledge, I really thought the film was really well done, well put together. I think it shines a light on Africa in just a different way when it comes to creating these types of films on this level. So, just in watching it, I was like, wow. And it was very funny. I love when Lara slapped, what's my guy, the record exec. I was just like, man, it's just a lot of funny moments. So I just want to commend you on doing that. Maybe we should get started with Tosin and really understand how all of this came together. And, saying kind of work our way through the room. I'd love for all of you, feel free. This is a very open forum. Express yourselves, because I think that this is an opportunity for us to really connect things and be a bridge stateside here, in the US, and really showcase what this opportunity is. And certainly with the African Film and Arts Foundation, I think we're really on the right track. So Tosin, are you there?
It seems like he dropped off, so we can go on to somebody else for now.
Okay.
Harold, the cinematographer, is there too?
So Harold, maybe I know this might seem a little odd, but you're the lone white guy on here. So I'd love to understand,
Oh, really?
Yes, right, exactly. So just an understanding, being a cinematographer, what's your background and how did you get involved with this project?
Well, just to say a quick words about everyone that I met in Nigeria, and all the journey that took me to get there was wonderful people that I met every second and every day. And I'm very grateful for that. And I did learn a lot. It's not that I was the cinematographer. I think Africa made me a cinematographer, and for the long run in my career. I first shot in Kenya some documentary for kids, but then with Tosin, I met him in California. So we did the same master together in motion picture, and we built up a friendship. And he was like, hey man, I have this script, I have this little tiny bitty bunny budget. They say, I want to put together this movie. And I don't know, I think I'm Venezuelan. I came from a third world country too, and I understand the struggles and understand the situation. And I think I tag along with Tosin and talk a lot of how to develop movies in a cheap way with a very authentic, unique style. And thanks to him, he put together all this wonderful talent that you have here on the screen, with amazing actors, set design, the wardrobe, the makeup. I mean, I was watching the movie again, and I was like, wow, amazing. I couldn't believe what just happened. There he is, Tosin. Temi!
Yes.
How are you?
Hey, Temi.
And talking about the king of Rome, here he is. Tosin, I was just introducing myself, saying how I met you and all that stuff.
Hey, Tosin, so I wanted to kind of, before we turned it over to the ladies, because I certainly want them to kind of guide us through, but I was trying to get an understanding from behind the lens of how everything started, and, you really just bringing this whole cast together, which I thought you had a lot of star power and a very diverse cast, so I felt it was impressive, and I think I mentioned that to you before. But, what was the thought process behind this, and how did it all get started? Oh, we got to unmute. Oh, Tosin, you're still on mute.
Yourself.
He muted me.
Zoom.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so going back 2017, what transpired was I met with the executive producer and we were talking about other things that we wanted to work on together. And she pitched this project, you know, which is very similar to her story, you know, with her sister. I mean, she had like a little bit of herself and her sister in it. And it's like Sense and Sensibility, from Prada to Nada. And I remember reading it and I was like, well, I actually like the direction of the film if we actually put the music in it. And with that, she gave me complete creative freedom to go out there and just rewrite the screenplay, because we already had the screenplay. And I linked up with John, because John and I, we've been working together for years, and he usually writes everything I work on. So we came together, we talked about the project, and we said, okay, this is a Prada Sonata or Sense and Sensibility, but how can we make it our own? Something that we would love to do. With that, we put it all together. We wanted the music to be a very, very powerful element, because music transcends borders and culture. So we wanted to actually use the music to talk to people. I have a friend, the producer, the music supervisor, Ty Mix. We've always talked about working together, and he's a really stellar producer out in Nigeria. So we talked about the project. He was down to do it because I was trying to, I think, like branch out from just music when going to the motion picture industry. So we came together and said, okay, how are we going to make this picture and make it authentic? And then we talked about we needed a musician, and Biola always wanted to work with Shay on a project, so she brought Shay in, and between Shay and Biola, they brought Vector to the table. We spoke with Vector. It was pretty cool. And then we just, like, all the people I've been working with in television, you see a lot of them, Folu and all those other people that I really think they're very talented. I know they can cross over. I just tapped all those people and say, hey guys, you know, we got a motion picture we want to do together. You guys want to be part of this? And everybody was there to bring their A game, you know, to the table. So we just wanted to make something that we just wanted to be able to take it to London, to South Africa, to Asia even, and the US. And we felt a musical motion picture would be the way to do it. So that's pretty much the cliff notes of the whole situation.
Sure. I really thought it was, like I said, I thought it was very well shot. And I certainly think all of you can definitely cross over. It seems like it's now time for Africa more than ever. And so it's a real blessing, and you all did an excellent, excellent job. I want to, you know, ladies, of course, you all have some very strong, you had strong presence on camera and on screen. So, you know, maybe Somkele, can we start with you and just, you know, your thoughts in terms of getting involved, and when Tosin called you and said, hey, we're doing this, and, you know, I'd like to kind of go around with you all and talk.
Oh God, I thought you were going to start with Lala.
Lala, okay.
You know,
Lala, you want to set the tone?
Okay, maybe because I also worked as casting. I did casting, and I worked as an associate producer on the project. So maybe that's why Somkele is saying to defer to me. So yes, I mean, the executive producer had told me about the project. She said, oh, we're working on something. And well, because I'm an actor first, she was like, oh, I think there's a role in there for you, and I think you should come and audition. And I remember that I went to audition, and Tosin and Temi were there. So I first auditioned for my role as Toye, and I think they loved me. And, you know, once that was sorted, then we moved on to casting and holding auditions. Now, at the time as well, because Somkele was shuttling Nigeria and Canada, if I'm correct, we had so many options, and there were so many other people. So I think that even as at the time that the executive producer was talking to Tosin, she had a few names on her mind, and we'd had this tons and tons and tons of meetings trying to pair people up. And then, you know, I was just like, look, let's call Somkele in. Like, let's just call her in. You know, and there were all the conversations around, oh, will she be in the country? Well, I'm just like, let's just have her walk in and let's try her out. And I remember I even read, because Shay wasn't available, so I think I read Shay with her. I've forgotten Shay's name, Lara, oh my God. You know, so I read Lara with her when she came to audition. And Tosin was like, what? Tosin was blown away. And Tosin was just like, that's her. Like, Tosin was like, we're not auditioning anybody anymore. And he was like, that's her. And that was her. And we started to now move things around to make it work for her, and getting her and Shay to start to work together. With Folu, funny enough, Folu wasn't even in the like original plan. Tosin was like, you know, how about this person? I'm like, oh yes, we did some training together in LA. You know, she's really good, and I love her skin and her hair and everything. Because when thinking of that character, Lara's assistant, we had another image in mind. But then I had to remember that, you know, in casting, the character is who you cast. So I'm like, yeah, there's something different that Folu is going to bring here. And she's not like, the way she looks is not the stereotype way, the way the character was written. So she had to bring in her own layers, and boom, that was really exciting. And I loved that we cast her because she brought so much to the table. And even with the music side, you know, working on the soundtrack, because I also did a song, that's true, Shay did a song, I sing, so I did a song with TY Mix as well, funny enough. And this project was really a learning curve, because there was this merger of a crew from Nigeria and from all over the world, if I must say so. And in Tosin is such an artist, oh my God. You guys should see when he wants that shot, and then he's not gonna compromise. And you know, sometimes the producer in me is looking like, Tosin, can we cut it shorter? You know, and as I was watching that trailer, I was just having memories. And Tosin would be like, no. Somkele, do you remember the dinner when you guys came to like our house? And Tosin wanted that shot like going around the table. Oh my God, we shot that thing for like 100 hours. And Tosin wasn't going to back down. So look, when you say this thing is nicely shot, we paid for it. He took away our blood. And I'm not lying. Folu and Somkele might be nice and all, but I'm not nice. I'm going to say the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and he would do it. And he wanted the whole thing in one smooth take. And you know, the working environment was also quite tough, because we were learning how to do things with this international mind. And there wasn't going to be any rushing, and Tosin made that very clear. So the lighting, you know, and the guys that he brought, you know, amazing people, and just learning to mesh and merge. It was something that I also learned on the project. So, I mean, that's my end in terms of how I got in. To me, every day was a hard work day. It was a hard work day. But I think the work speaks for itself. So I'll just let Somkele carry on from here.
There's nothing left to say. So yeah, she was right. She's exactly right. I wanted her to speak on, you know, I guess how the ladies got on board, because she's a very talented casting director. Funny enough, Lala and I go back to when she cast me for my first series. So I already knew the talent that she had when it came to bringing a group of actors together who could translate the work from paper to screen. So yeah, I did walking into the audition. I didn't know Tosin, hadn't heard of him before. And I was just like, okay, I think the only person that made me comfortable was, like I said, Lala was there. I was like, okay, at least I know Lala. And then like, 8 auditions. My nerves all over the place. I'm just nothing shy of a little mess that's just about to like, let's just get this audition done, and then, you know, and then I can calm down. So, but it wasn't as formal because it was in the boardroom. So I felt a bit better, and I've always admired Lara The Beat, and I wanted to work with her. So there are a lot of parts where I was like, okay, you know what, whatever happens, if I get it right, then we'll get on board. So I think what I really loved about that audition at the end of the day was that I got to play both sisters, and that had never happened before. So after we did the first take, they're like, okay, and you almost want to get something, like, do they like it, do they not? And then when he said, you know what, can you play Lara as well? I was like, oh, because Lara and Dara contrast, like direct opposite of each other. One is day and night, literally. So I had to pretty much turn my whole ideology of what I prepared on its head. And I, like she said, I'll take her word for it. They were impressed, and I'm, again, always honored to work with very talented people. So that's how I got on board.
Yeah. Great job, Lala, on the casting. I thought you did a wonderful job, definitely, Somkele. So, Folu, tell me, what was your impression? You came on, you did your thing. You brought some different spices to the table.
Different spices. Well, yeah, it was quite fun getting on board. I'd worked with Tosin not too long just before that, actually, on another series that he was a director on. So finding out that he was involved in this project, I was like, oh, cool. I really enjoyed working with him, and that was quite interesting. And then quite a number of the actors, and Shay as well. I'd known Shay from before. I'd worked with Lala in different capacities before. I'd met Somkele. So, it was very interesting for me, but I think that was it was my first feature film as well, actually. So that was kind of cool. And it was the first time I think I'd been on a set with that much star power, where every single person, was a little, sun in their own right, which was fantastic. And then I actually did like the story. I thought it was very sweet. It was very interesting. I loved that there was this heavy musical element. And of course, I'm a broadcaster as well. And I'd been working on radio and was on radio full time while I was acting. So I was like, having all this musicality come into it, that was dope. Knowing T.Y. Mix was involved in the soundtrack. And I was just excited to see what the end product would look like. And I certainly wasn't disappointed. So it was great.
Absolutely. Very nice. Well, John, I know you are part of creating that script, correct? So tell us about, kind of seeing, your words brought to life on camera. What was that like for you? And, the inspiration, I thought it was a very interesting story, overall, because, when you look at films like that have a strong musical element, it's just different. Like when I, kind of growing up as a kid in the US and watching even The Last Dragon or something like that, I was like, wow, this is and it's really compelling. It was really funny. It was entertaining on a lot of levels. And I could see where, the crossover appeal was going to happen. So, for yourself, John, what was that like?
Well, 2 words, trust and instinct. Tosin and I, it's now been, I guess, 10 years. I wonder, we've talked about it, had this project come to us maybe a year prior, I don't know if we would have been ready. So much of what we did in developing this was instinct. From the moment we did our jam session and I jumped into the first draft, only to find out it needed to be done in a week. So I wrote the 110 pages in 7 days. That's instant. I wouldn't have known where to begin before. So, and then trust in the fact that I trusted, and I still trust Tosin's creative judgment. So it relieved a little bit of anxiety about going into a project like this, where it's like, okay, I don't know this world very well. And to approach it, a lot of it, I had to trust Tosin and our creative process and our development process. So writing it, I knew like, okay, I know Tosin's gonna think this way. I know he might want to shoot it this way. I know he likes to go into a scene this way. We sort of share the same perspective about character logics, conflicts, world building, structure. And so all of that was kind of there. So it was just like, all right, when we do our jam session, we just riff off of each other. So when I sit to go in it, I know that, okay, I know he's kind of hovering above me as I write in a way. So I'm like, I really want to do this, but I know this is probably, and we just, Lala talks about the cost of making it look the way it did. That cost runs, from the beginning. Tosin and I, we grew up a lot putting this together. There's so much we learned, there's so much we endured. Our friendship, I think, is what really kind of kept us through it. So,
okay. John, you sound like, I don't want you to go through post-traumatic stress, reliving this at all. I know it was a process. You did an excellent job. No, you did an excellent job, and I respect that absolutely.
I will say, on a more positive note, yes, to answer your question about seeing my words on screen, the scenes between Tonya and Dara, the kitchen scene, watching that, I still love it every time. I love the sass that Lala brought out in Tonya, because that was partly me. So that was fun to watch. And Dara and Laura, like their argument in the room, that scene gets me every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember writing it, but seeing it, and way Tosin shot it, when I first saw it, I had to call him up. I was like, yeah, that meant a lot.
And quick question, where are you from, John, by the way?
Oh, that's another podcast. But because I was born on an Air Force base in the Philippines, and my father was in the Air Force. So my childhood and everywhere was just...
Okay. Well, I just say that it gives it definitely had a global feel, and it felt like it would appeal whether it was in the UK, in the US, what have you. So kudos to you on that. I definitely respect that. I want to bring Shay into this conversation. Lara, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi. Hello, everybody.
You?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you so much. How's everyone?
Good. Excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So while you're on the line, I mean, and I know I think you're perhaps moving around, making some other magic happen at the same time. I wanted to ask you about what this experience was like. This is your first role, correct?
That's correct. My first role. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. What was this experience like? You nailed it. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. I don't know if many people know this, but this is actually my first movie role. I've never acted on the big screen before. I did some theater back in the day, but never really never a movie. So it was interesting for me. It was quite challenging at first, but as the weeks went by, I started to get used to it, and I had some great co-stars with me, just kind of training me and taking me through. Of course, Tosin, the best director. I mean, it's just the best director, the best person to work with, and Lala and everybody just kind of mentoring me through and taking me through the whole process. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be before we started filming. I really loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's funny just seeing where we are in 2020 and just understanding what the opportunities are for people of color on the big screen. And I think that, you all are certainly right on time, and this adds a different texture, I would say, to the films that are out everywhere. And I was really pleased to just understanding that. So I would say for each of you, in getting involved, I know Lala, you did the casting, and I kind of understand how, you had a role at the same time, as well as trying to coordinate the chemistry that we're now seeing on screen. What do you all anticipate? What do you feel in your hearts is the reaction to this type of film? I don't feel like it's necessarily the traditional Nollywood film or anything like that. So, I just feel it has, a very broad appeal, but, how do you all anticipate this film being received? And anybody that'd like to start.
Temi could start. I mean, she produced, she was one of the producers on the project. So she pretty much saw the journey of the film, the project, through the festival route and just the reception. So,
sorry, what was the question?
Like, how do you feel about the reception? Like, how it was received,
I will say the Pan-African Film Festival,
okay.
the reception of that showed us a lot, yeah.
Well, in terms of like around the United States. Like we did tour the festivals. It was widely received, actually. People loved the fact that it was a global storyline. It was a storyline that a lot of people in different cultures could connect to and relate to. So it was well received, and they were excited to see more from the team and the cast and the crew. So
yeah, I mean, Pan-African was where I think our official world premiere, because it was the final cut. And I mean, we went into it, we did not really expect the kind of reception we got, and kind of like it was a springboard for everything. Like, we had sold out shows, and I think what really helped was that, Black Panther just came out. So people are kind of curious about Africa, and being able to tell a story that, people could just say, hey, I can relate to Lara. She looks like the girl right across the street, or the girl in Beverly Hills. I think that really helped, because it really let us understand that, okay, we did something that really did transcend. And then once the announcement was made that, it won an award there, and the reception and the people that we met, the contacts we made over there, it just launched it, and we just back to back every month. It was just like back to back. We're just making the festival circuit, and it's just been amazing. I mean, till today, I still pinch myself at just the people that I'm meeting and we're talking to based on this film, and what they're talking about as far as like what they want to do in the future, in partnership with Nigeria. So that's been pretty awesome. I don't know if John or anybody else has anything to say, and Harold. And I mean, Harold was in Cannes, so he would tell you what happened in Cannes.
Yeah. I mean, I will say in general, just as someone who's been involved in it and sort of watching the way that it has been received, because Tosin and you guys have been doing the incredible work of putting it out there. People have always been rather fascinated and interested in what happens on the African continent, outside of the general misconception that a lot of people have of it being just one homogenous place. Having a movie that kind of shows you the nuances of day-to-day life, the realities, the loves, the hopes, and just kind of positions people, as Tosin said, in a very relatable way, I think is so important. And it's really important even just from an informative standpoint, so people understand what it's like. It's not some necessarily mystical foreign land where everything looks strange and is different. It's just human life. It's human life that you need to be introduced to. And I think this movie has done it in a very palatable way and a very pleasing way, because like I said, it's a gorgeous film to look at. So that's what I think about it. And it translates incredibly well, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'll just say that reading the script, I felt that, like you said, it's universally, I guess, relatable. But then after getting on set and seeing how meticulous both our cinematographer and director were, I could tell that at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, this will resonate more with what we would call the abroad audience, because we knew right from the get-go that kind of just a few of the elements that were in there weren't tailored specifically to the Nigerian or the African audience alone. So this was one that I could almost beat off my chest that would probably do better internationally than it would locally. And I think that that's pretty much the case. So yeah, that was what we got. And I'm quite happy that, like Folu said, it really portrayed the Africa that a lot of people don't even think exists. So yeah, I like that we did that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like Somkele said, a film that wasn't strictly tailored for Nollywood, which was, for someone like me who works in front and behind the camera, and with the process and studying the audience, it's also like there has to come a time where we start to tell stories in a certain way that has more of a world and a global palette, intentionally attached to it. And I think that that's what Lara The Beat has done. Excellent work with, like touring touring America and all the festivals. And the only festival I was at was in Paris. And I mean, from the things that I've been hearing and reading, because I just tried to follow, it looks like the audience pretty much received it well. What it also means is, and I think the only downer for me would be that beyond, I'm happy about the story being out there and, you know, the portrayal of Lagos and Africa and people seeing that, oh my God, they're lush, they're beautiful, their hair, their fashion, you know, and all these things were characters that I know Tosin was very particular about, you know, wanting these things to shine through in the film, because I mean, in his mind, he knew that, look, for the next 2 years, I'm going to be showing this film around the world. So you people, we have to represent properly. And I'm glad that we did that. But beyond that, and the other beautiful thing is the introduction of the talent, of these talents to the world, because there's also that impression that, oh, you know, the talents from this part of the world are a certain way. But with a film like this, you're able to see that, oh my God, these actors understand nuance, they understand character development, they understand how to work a scene, you know. And funny enough, with Lara The Beat, the feedback I keep getting about the performances, you know, about the scenes, about, you know, I know that John kind of slipped it in there that Toyin was his favorite, but I'm not going to like emphasize that, you know. But no, don't mind me. But that, you know, people actually say those things, like the scene, you know, the Lara and Dara arguments, you know, the scene in the kitchen. And that says something about the perform and the talent. And, you know, for me, that's one of the reasons I started casting, because I'm like, we have people who understand what acting is properly. We have people who go beyond what people just go, oh, you people shout too much, or you people don't understand silence or pacing, you know, all the technical things. And I think with this film, we proved that point. I like to prove points with every work of art. And I just would like, you know, for this to even translate for things for the talent, you know, even beyond Nollywood, because even the people here, I will tell you for free that they have a global outlook to their work, to their talent, to where they want to reach. And I know it's one of the reasons they gave their all to this project. So I'm hoping that as we go along, you know, this will open up so many other doors for especially the talent in front of the camera.
Yeah, I definitely felt it was diaspora driven, and I felt like you could relate to it no matter where you are. I love the scene where Lara's complaining about the AC, and I thought that was, I mean, it's just so funny because there's just little moments there that you can just, you know, everybody can relate to, where you just understand what is happening. And I just thought that was, you know, that was really cool. Shout out to Auntie Patience as well. Shout out to Auntie Patience, you know? Yeah, I just thought that, you know, things like that make it extremely interesting. And, you know, from a cinematography standpoint too, Harold, I wanted to ask you, I thought that the film, it was very well, like, shot. I loved the scenes. I loved how Lagos was captured. You know, it just looked like, you know, just a major super fly cosmopolitan city. And, you know, I think that that's very important in terms of how it translates for everybody else. So, you know, I definitely respect that. So for yourself, Harold, and just kind of scouting that out and being in Lagos, what was it like for you in terms of determining what scenes you wanted to see really, you know, exemplified in the film?
Oh, was just to summarize the words, just waking up every day next to Tosin and Temi and say, Harold, here's what we're gonna do. Tan, tan, tan. And then I just see this bright sun of Nigeria that doesn't stop, and everybody is pacing and working and doing the best they can. So I was just there capturing moments and trying to put lights and colors and try to saturate more the elements that Tosin always want to be in all one shot and all this stuff. But some locations were not that big. They were like, the kitchen was just the kitchen. and it was no way to move the camera and stuff like that. So we had to jiggle it and hide the camera inside of a corner and then explain the guys like, hey, shoot this way, put the light there. And I was just trying to enhance the thing. But at the end of the day, what I realized that was that truly, and not by patronizing anyone, it's like everybody in that set have their own lights and they shine it. They were bringing their A game. And that made me the job in like more inspirational inspirational, you know, and we have the opportunity to, this technology, just, you can have a drone, and at that time I was having the small license to fly the thing, and I was in the well-known of like, okay, if we're gonna do it camera-wise in the air, we need the same rules, like one can dolly push the camera and the other one the camera, and Tosin just put me together, all amazing African crew, all these guys were helping with me, we have all the focus point from United States. So it was a combination of teamwork that I was very, very happy with. And you're just getting blessed day by day, because one day was pouring rain and Tosi is like, Hagaro, today is daytime. Okay, it's black and it's water coming down, you know? It's like, well, it has to be sunny and bright. Okay, we are gonna shoot in 10 minutes. So it was kind of like a rollover adventure, you know, and I love it in every second. Watching the film, I watch it again, the one of the last final cuts, and it's amazing. It's amazing just watch the performance of each one of those of the actors, and the wardrobe, the makeup, everything was very nice. I really like it, and I'm just humbly happy to be part of this team. Which I love, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, maybe I should ask this for Temi. What was the budget and funding of doing a film like this? Like, I mean, it looked like it was a major production, and something that you would see on the big screen in the AMC theaters here, or, you know, Netflix or HBO. So again, kudos to you all for having the vision, because it's one thing to have the vision, it's another thing to bring it to life. But I thought that was excellent. But what was it like from a funding and a budgeting standpoint? Hold on, Tosin. We got to get this. This is Temi's muted. We can't. We got to hear. We got to get these gems.
Somebody muted it, but yeah.
Well, I think, you know, for that, I think we can definitely give a lot of the praise in that to our executive producer, Lara The Beat. You know, I think she's a titan in the industry. I think she also has an understanding of the vision of, like, the, you know, bridging that gap between Nollywood and, you know, Hollywood. And so she did support it. And that was like full funding that she did, you know, from, you know, Nigeria. And it was obviously with the intent that we would make the production value look way more than it was. And so that was the like hard work that everybody on the team had to do in order to support that vision. We had to come and give our 150% in order to, like, bring this vision to life, you know. But yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
But it was completely full funding that she definitely handled and brought to the table.
Sure. So I wanted to ask everyone, what was life on set like? You know, on this particular film? Was craft services? I mean, you enjoy Harold. You must have enjoyed some awesome African food.
I love it. I can't wait to come back.
Absolutely. But, you know, just overall, because I know that it just seems like the opportunities are certainly growing, and we're you know, I look at it like we are certainly getting on par with everything that's happening on a Hollywood level. So it just looked like it was such a well-shot film. I was just wondering what that was like, you know, for you know, each of you. Lala, I mean, I know you're in casting.
Life on set was hard. I'm not gonna
Please.
It was hard. Shay and Somkele can say that. You know, Harold was enjoying the jollof rice, but life on set was hard. And I'll explain, and I'll say why. In Nollywood is a growing industry, and by growing I also mean growing with structure and growing with how we do things. I mean, after Lara and the Beat, for example, I've gone on to co-produce some other films and some other bigger projects, and I've some of the lessons I learned from Lara and the Beat, you know, it's like, I'm like, that's never going to happen again. That's never going to happen again. And I would say things like, not just be, as a producer, you have to be 10 steps ahead, they say. I think on Lara The Beat, we needed to be like 200 steps ahead because, typical scenario, we don't have studios here in Nigeria. We're shooting on real streets. We're shooting in real houses. And for example, Anti-Patience's home, Toyin and Anti-Patience's home, that location, as beautiful as it looked, it was very small. It was very small. It was in a very local area in Lagos. And even, we didn't have the luxury of like having a unit, so you don't have a unit, you don't have trailers, you don't have places to like keep actors. So we're partitioning a part of the location to use as holding areas, for costuming, for acting, for actors, and then you have to film right there, and it's not too far away. There are longer hours, the prep for each scene, the turnover. And just like Harold said, some of the locations were more difficult than we probably imagined. So the beauty was that we had talented people who would, create and everything, because Tosi is going to tell you, I want what I want. I know Temi lost her mind a lot. Temi was first AD, and Temi was she ran mad because that set was driving her nuts, but she held it down, so there were all those things. And then even the logistics of Lagos. Shooting in Lagos is a skill on its own. You can't learn to shoot in Lagos from any film school. You learn to shoot in Lagos by shooting in Lagos, to be honest, because there's the road time, there is the weather. Ideally you're doing a call sheet, you have a weather forecast. Lagos will be laughing at you because you can believe that the weather is going to be sunny, and as you're setting up, the clouds are changing, and then you have to make it work. And then there's the traffic, there's the noise. There's the traffic moving from one place to the other, or just getting people to be there. There's the noise, there's the people, I remember even in that location, Vector had so many
location with a piece of cake.
I know. And then because we also, there was the general note not to compromise on how the locations will look. So the lushness, the places that needed to look lush and rich needed to look lush and rich. And sometimes, in Lagos, you have a location maybe booked, and then you're told you only have 3 hours to film there, and you have this large number of people. You haven't even set up, and somebody's looking at the clock and trying to tell you to go, to, get out or something, and then you have to make that work, and then you're spending more money than you planned to spend. So these are some of the things that are peculiar to Nollywood, especially when you're trying to do something different and you're trying to work with an international structure. And then sometimes it's not as if you don't know what to do, but then I always say something, Nigeria happens to you, but then you have to push. You have to push through. So it was hard. It was very hard, which is why I really, really commend everybody that worked on this film, because there were times when the pressure got in. There were times when people broke down in tears. There were times when we had to remind ourselves why we were here. Shay, yeah. There were these moments, but I think we all were on the same page with the goal. And Tosin always had this pep talk moments. He always had all his motivational speeches, and just, telling us we were doing well and things. So I would say it was hard, but it was good. It was a good hard, but because we kept doing, and then, every time we wore our costumes, you just forgot about the woes, and you're just like, okay, we're making a movie here. And yeah, it would get better. For somebody like me, I think that the sets that I have worked on as a producer since Lara The Beat have been better because, I'm like, those things wouldn't happen again, and we keep getting better. Yeah. We are building the industry.
Yeah, I think it all falls down to just the amazing and talented crew and team we had. Everybody worked 700% their capacity and their load, because it was a trial by fire all through the whole thing. Like every single person were wearing like 3 or 4 hats. And once you're in the cutting room and you look at everything that you've come up with, you just appreciate every single person. I don't think Lara The Beat could not have been done with anybody else than the people that we had. And I keep on saying it, and I will continue saying it, because like they really, really pushed themselves, and they set the standard, for like professionalism and, hard work and everything else. So it's a film for every single person, from the top EP all the way to the cleaners, because everybody was working about 18, 20-hour days sometimes just to make this movie happen.
So I would add that the answer to the question of, you know, was it worth it? You know, was the cost to sacrifice it, is a resounding yes. I mean, anything worth anything takes sacrifice. You just got to survive the sacrifice.
Sure. I know it's a trial by fire, and I know, Shay, you raised your hand. I'm interested to hear from you with this being your first feature film. I mean, you jumped all the way into the fire, you know, not the red flame, but the blue flame. You did an awesome job. And I say that not just because it's on the line, but, you know, just in kind of watching, you know, I think, Lala, you mentioned the pacing and just the chemistry. And I felt like you and Somkele, there was a certain chemistry that I felt that resonated, and you were able to deliver. And even with Folu, with yours, I was like, it was really funny without being over the top. It just kept you kind of smiling through it. Yeah. And I thought that was really special. But for you being on your first film set of this magnitude, you know, what did it teach you? What did it show you? What did it prepare you for?
Honestly, I learned a lot of lifelong lessons for sure. Just shooting this one film. I'm a musician, and so I'm a touring musician. I write songs, I record songs, I make music videos, and that's probably the only I guess practicing acting on a big screen that I've ever had. But while shooting Lara and the Beat, I will definitely say that I had to really learn patient. So it wasn't about getting on stage, performing for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, getting off, going home, you know, or being in the studio writing a song. And this was a lot more intense. I've never experienced anything like this in my life, but I really enjoyed it thoroughly. As I said, I had some great people mentoring me through, and yeah, I broke down in tears quite a lot, actually. In fact, my first day of filming, I was so scared. As soon as I saw the cameras and I saw the whole setup and like everything, I was like, okay, you know what? I've changed my mind. And I said this to Lala and Viola and Tosin. I said, you know, I think I've changed my mind. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm good. I don't want to be in this movie anymore. And everyone was like, oh, what are you saying? What are you saying? I was like, no, I don't think I have the time, the patience, the energy, what it takes. Honestly, that's literally what I said the first day. It was quite funny now in hindsight, but I knew it was going to be grueling from that first day, and I knew it was going to be hard, but I'm really glad I pushed through and I got to the end of filming everything. As you can see, it looked like actually Lara was having a lot of fun, especially in the beginning and at the end. And genuinely, she was, because I ended up having a lot of fun filming, and I miss Lara now. I miss the whole cast. I miss everybody. I watched it again recently, and I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. I watched it with my friends, my family, and they were just like, this is really incredible, you know, for what it was and when it was, and you know, and your first movie role. But like I said, I won't take away the lessons that I learned, the patience, the resilience, the tenacity, the just, you know, pushing through, working with a different type and group of people. I think the only other real musician there was Vector, which is Mr. Beats. But I won't speak for him. I'll just speak for myself. It was incredible experience, like I said, and I think everybody else has said everything that I really wanted to say. And yeah, I guess I hope I answered the question. I hope I wasn't just babbling on like Lara. But
I like it to
yeah.
be, you know, I think what you all are speaking from is a very genuine, in a real place.
Absolutely.
And I think
that, I'm genuinely pleased and happy that I was a part of this I'd call it a masterpiece, because obviously it is.
Yeah, it is. What do you all feel is the future, just as it relates to, you know, I'd say Nollywood, African films, or films that appeal to the entire diaspora? Because again, I didn't feel like it was an African film or a Nollywood film. I felt like it was just a great film that people could relate to. And I feel like as we've seen the emergence of all these other works. Because, you know, I'll be honest, and for me, my background being media, I think that, you know, people of color in the US are just now starting to really see themselves in a major way in film. Tosin, you could speak to that as well. But, you know, Black Panther set a different tone for that, especially when it comes to the image, I would say, of Black males. But I think, you know, you as women really just portrayed some very strong characters. And we know that African women are very powerful, very strong, and you know, just have a lot of personality. So I thought that that was, you know, it was great to see all this, the variations in the personalities and how it resonated on screen. But I feel like, you know, there's an opportunity now. And I was just interested to think, you know, just to hear what you all may think is going to happen in the forthcoming future with, you know, films like this.
I think I could say that exactly what you said, which is why I've always loved the arts of all kinds, which is the point where you say you're watching it without a bias. It's not about where it's from, it's just the story or the piece speaks to you so deeply that it, whatever prejudice you may have had from where it originated or the color of the people in the project or whatever, that all that just falls behind, not even secondary. You don't even see that. And then it's that shock factor. It's when you love something so much and then you go do your research and you're like, oh, I didn't know that could come out of them. And that's the point. And that's what I love about film, because it's such a collaborative process. You can't pin it to just the one place, to the one person. Like I said, competition is great, collaboration is always better. So I think going forward, key collaborations will be the next best thing. It's always been the best thing. Coming together, understanding where our strengths lie. I mean, right now, working to have better skill sets in Nigeria and across the world. And if you're great with the talent, okay, right, we want production value, so we're gonna set it in Africa. Great. Then we have actors from there. Then we've got, you know, DOPs from here, and then we've got director from here, and then we've got, so when you bring the whole team together, you can't quite put a finger on it. All you just care about is, this is great, I loved what I saw, and I just can never forget it. And they're just like Shay said, so when you're either involved in a project or you experience something that another person's put forward as art or their work, when it resonates really deeply with you, you actually go on for the rest of your life remembering something or holding on to it. And that's why I think I'm a bit careful to pick the roles that I pick, because there's something that will always stay with you from that character. And I think that's the beauty of taking someone's, and so when people say, oh, is it fiction, is it nonfiction, I always say that it's real life. Because no matter what, that character was birthed from someone's mind. And all of this is great, but the blueprint is guys like John. Like, they are the ones who bring forth these characters, and you're just like, oh, whose mind is this? How do I do justice to this person's mind? Because they're real to them. They've put in so much work, so much effort. So anyway, long story short, I think the future is collaboration and bringing forth more projects where it's no longer trying to prove a point. You love it, you love it. We bring our talent forward and everybody keeps it moving, and we just keep supporting each other. It's no longer a thing of where you're from, but just the talent.
Sure.
Exactly what it is, the talent.
Just want to add as well, my friends and my family that I know that have watched it said, oh my God, Shay, who casted you for this movie? Who casted you as Lara? And I was like, oh, that would be Lala, but then she knows me. So she knew I'd be great for the role. They're like, you know, it's funny because we know you're acting, but this Lara, like, you're acting Lara so well. And she's got so many traits and so many characteristics, and so her personality is similar to yours. And so I said, yeah, I mean, Lala knows me, and I guess they just figured, hey, Shay would be the best person to pull off the Lara Giwa person role. So they were like, a lot of people were like, wow, you're acting, but you're not acting. It's crazy. It's so weird to see how you are just kind of like living this other person, but it's still you, and it's not, you know, it's just incredible. I mean, the whole process of acting and the whole process of movie making, to me, is just mind blowing. You can just imagine somebody like me, never in my life imagine that I would be in a movie, or, you know, never witnessed the process and how everything is made, and having like such superstar co-stars and just watching them and like, wow, is this how it's done? And then having to kind of go in there head on and be this other person. So what I had to do was I had to channel my most favorite actress on screen growing up, and that was Hilary Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know, I can't remember her real name now, but that's who I channeled throughout the whole movie, and that was kind of like she was my I don't know.
I can see it now.
Yeah. So she was like, every time I had to get into character and become a bit more larger than life and probably exaggerate me, Shay, as people know me, I would go and I would channel Hilary Banks. And that's how I got through making Lara and the Beat with everyone. I just remembered her, kept her in my mind, and went back, watched a lot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and remembered, how would Hilary Banks say this? What would she do? How would she feel? Okay, cool. And then it just came out really naturally because that's who I grew up watching on TV anyway. So my family were just like, oh yeah, okay, we can see it now. So I was like, yeah. I just wanted to add that. That's how I taught myself to, I guess, act. But it's the whole process: the movie, the lighting, the directing, the casting, the angles, the script, the lines, the roles, the sets. Incredible. You can see it. I'm still mind blown. Hey Lala, if you've got any more movies, call me up, man. I enjoyed every minute of it. I look back and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I got through that. But I'm so happy and grateful to everybody that put me on. And Tosin, yeah, you're incredible. You're just incredible. Thank you for everything you did. Sorry, I don't want to get too emotional. I think I'm tired. It's like almost, I think it's after 1 out here.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold you all too much longer. I know it's late for you, and I just wanted to ask a couple more questions, but more so, any memorable moments on set that anybody really, I think Somkele, you mentioned how, whenever you do a film, you kind of take a piece of that character, so to speak, with you, and you'll always remember that. But were there any moments that, while you all were making this, that you just were like, we'll never forget this, either collectively or individually?
For me, I would say there were just people that I met, like Temi, and we haven't spoken since, but as soon as I saw, I was like, hey, Temi. There was like a happy like dance and saying hi to her, because you meet amazing people and you just, it's like it clicks, and then you know that, again, if I ever met them 10 years down the road, it'd be the same thing, and you just have a sweet spot for them. So for me, it's relationships that bud off of projects, number 1 first, and then 2, from the character. I think, so it was interesting because when I read the story, there were a lot of things that I could relate with personally. And then when I met Shay, I didn't know her except that she's an amazing singer and a dancer. So I always respected her work from a distance. But I didn't know anything about her personally. And your favorite scene, John, which is the argument. Oh no, or was it? No, it was your favorite
No,
scene.
It was that argument in the house. Yeah.
Because we shot it, I think, the same day or so. So we had to shoot the AC scene as well. And I think that's the one that kind of stuck with me, because she and I had a conversation and we both realized that we'd lost our parents. She lost her mom and I lost my dad. And then I was like, just channel that. And then she was like, I just didn't want to go there. I'm like,
yeah, please. That was really hard for me. I didn't even know. That was so hard.
Just, I don't like to draw from personal experiences because, again, it's the character and not you. But if you needed that toolbox, so when I sat there, then I started to look through Dara. Dara was a budding filmmaker. She was just like that odd kid who was just trying to do what it do. And then I think the one that really struck was when she said, you know, you're just always trying to be a kiss ass for mommy and daddy. And it's just so interesting how when you're growing up, all you're just trying to do is be a good kid. And I could relate with that personally because I wasn't just trying to do that, but I could see how that came across. So there were just parts of Dara that I didn't quite see about myself, but I definitely saw. And then it was just one day I sat and I was like, wow, Dara is very, I mean, there's a lot of history that I just didn't think that I had. And so Dara made me look back at my life. Because there were times where, you know, because I lost my dad when I was 12 years old. And we always waited. I personally I was just prepping, wanting to be that good kid. And then I was like, maybe one day we actually wouldn't have light. And maybe one day we'd have to move to the village. But that never happened. So having to live that from grace to grass in the film, I was like, it just gave me a lot of gratitude that I never had to actually go through that. But it was a fear that I had. So yeah, took that back with me.
Wow, that's powerful. How's everybody managing in the midst of the pandemic, this global situation? Obviously, you can't do everything typically you do. And Moji, if there's any questions that we have from anyone that may be out there, I certainly want to make sure we kind of address it as we close this, wind things down. But is everybody okay in the midst of this?
Yeah, we're making the best of it. We can't work as much as we would love to. Projects are suspended, productions are up in the air, traveling, but we're grateful to be alive and healthy. I think that's like the goal for the year. And still find ways to do the things we love. I mean, this is us talking about a film we made. And so I guess we're more grateful for the little things or the things we might have taken for granted, but really we're hoping for it all to blow over, So much more work to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
John, Tosin, you're gonna add something.
No, I said, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of changes going on, but what has also helped us to do is take a step back, reflect, and ask ourselves where we want to go. So for us, is like, at least for John and I, to revisit who we are as filmmakers and what kind of stories we want to tell. And now it's an opportunity for us to actually look at everything in the past that we put on hold and say, okay, this is where we want to go. We map out the next 5 years. Now we have enough time to develop our stories a lot better, and really just take what experience we've learned over the past 3-4 years. I think we put everything on hold and apply like that towards the next 5 years, to map out the journey. So it's a bittersweet situation, and it's painful what's going on. And we do hope that things get back to some sort of normal, and people start to make motion picture again. I think obviously there's going to be a shift in how motion picture is going to be consumed. Definitely, it's changing a lot of things, but I think and for us, it's kind of like the new wave. You know what I mean? Like now, eyes on Africa. There's a lot of time to take a breather. And they're like, okay, we need to see more diversity in motion picture, as we need to see more diversity in everything. So it's put us in a place where there's now a magnifying glass on us, and we got to put our best foot forward. And as Sumi said, it's like, now we can't really look at borders as far as what separates us. Like the borders are not going to be invisible. It's just about, okay, what stories are being told, what talents, who's that talent there? And I think this is now the time for us to actually ask ourselves questions and also like self-reflect and actually grow as people and as filmmakers for what's the next decade, or at least the next wave of cinema as a whole.
Sure.
Yeah, I could come in here. Osei?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask a few questions that have come up and this is to everybody. So I will start with who I see, which will be Harold. So one of the big questions is Nollywood. The name Nollywood, the industry Nollywood, what are your thoughts around that? Do you think the Nigerian film industry should be called Nollywood? What are your thoughts around that? Let's start with Harold. I know you're not part of the Nollywood industry, but you've worked in that industry. So what do you think about it being called Nollywood?
Oh, my heart is part of it. But I think the Hollywood name or the Hollywood subject is something that we all are filmmakers. We all want to make movies, and we are very passionate about creating stories and glorify the actors or the actresses that are representing those characters. So that word means something out there, and India and the Middle East took it like a Bollywood. Now it's Nollywood. I think it's nothing bad with that name. I have to say that it's more powerful making names by their own countries, like Nigerian movies or the African continent. Like in my case, I'm from Venezuela. Every time that they make movies there, they say it's a Venezuelan movie or Chile movie or Argentina movie. Which is weird. I have never heard anything about South Bollywood, or I don't know how they will say it. But it's like those countries are like disappearing, they are oblivious. Like nobody, Venezuela, where is that? You know, I don't. Oh, Argentina, yes, you dance tango, but that's it. Now everybody knows where Brazil is because of all this pandemic that is reaching out of the world. But I think is something that we are all together, and it's a gigantic boat that we are all pushing, because at the same time this industry is built up by teamwork, but is passion too, and everybody wants to do their best. And nowadays the technology is more affordable, and it's not more like the little knowledge of someone's that know how to expose film and develop, because it was another completely craft. It was a whole another discipline. But now with digital, you have the chance to lower your budget, put the cameras in every single corner, very tiny spots, and the tools are there. Now everybody have a camera on their phone. Everybody is, you see in these past 3 years, it's like influencers and gurus and everybody telling you what to do and how to be fit and how to shoot the camera and how to be beautiful and how to do my makeup. Is a new tendency. I have no idea where we're going, but we love keeping making movies.
Lala, since you're in the industry in Nigeria, what do you think about that term being used to describe the industry?
I mean, this is an ongoing topic and an ongoing debate and an ongoing conversation. Personally, I identify with the phrase Nollywood. And for a long time, you would find that a lot of for lack of a better word, and I'm saying this very carefully, a lot of the more artistic filmmakers didn't want to be identified as Nollywood. And I could understand why, because the Nollywood started in 1992, but the history of Nigerian film started way before that. We had the Ade Loves, the Herbert Ogundes. They were making films. There was the moving traveling theater, and they were making films on 35 mm way, way, way before I was born, before the 90s.
A lot of people don't know that, actually.
Exactly. And if we don't tell that story, who's going to tell it? A lot of people don't know that, because those people were really focused on just the storytelling and the art of it. And there were so many other things that people didn't know about that time. But they made films. They did so many amazing things. They did special effects. Like if you find some of those films and watch them, you'll be so blown away, like, wow. But in 1992, there was a shift, or there was a movement when I think the Chinese people needed to get rid of the video players, the video cassette, the VHS players, and a lot of them were brought into Nigeria by the Igbo people, and then they needed to get rid of them. And then the marketers started making films so they could sell the VHS to people. So they started making films on that. That was how it started. But what they did was they told stories that were very relevant to them and very true to them, and they started to make money. And so suddenly an industry was born, because there wasn't an industry before then, which was the difference. An industry was born, people were making money, income, employment, people were starting to understand this, people were coming together, oh, what is costume? Oh, we'll bring our clothes, all of this. And I know this because I did my master's, I studied all these things. So I'm saying that then then a journalist, the first time the word Nollywood was an American journalist wrote something and called us Nollywood.
Yes.
That was how this started.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so people were like, well, I'm not Nollywood, or I'm the film industry. Also because the films in Nollywood then seemed to have a certain style. They were like home videos. They were called home videos. So there was a style to them, which as we are growing, we are now understanding the art of filmmaking. And I dare say we're telling stories the way people, and there's diversity. So there's now this debate, oh, I'm not Nollywood, I'm not a home video, I'm a proper film. Oh, I understand filmmaking. And I think it's all semantics, because I think the industry as a whole needs to come together, and we need to merge this commercial side and artistic side, because you find out that the artists don't understand the commerce, and they don't understand budgeting and return on investment and all of that. And we can't have an industry without that. So I'm for Nollywood. I don't believe in new Nollywood, old Nollywood. I believe in one Nollywood. I think that we are growing, we are evolving, we are getting better. There are new voices, and there's space for everybody. So I think we're in Hollywood.
Anybody else want to speak to that? About Nollywood?
First of all, thanks for that brief history, because I didn't know, and I was actually going to ask sort of the origins of who actually coined it. Was it an American journalist?
Yeah.
But to stick to that title, there's no reason why it can't evolve and mature and take a new shape. So to keep, what I'm saying? So yeah, that's really all I had to say about it.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak to that?
Just like Lala said, typically it's a debate that, like she said, it's semantics. To be honest, change is uncomfortable. And that's just what it always is. It boils down to change. And when it's time to change, those who, every time I get the opportunity to work with someone whom I've watched growing up, the respect I have for them is beyond, because I know the struggles we face today, like Lala said, things that happened on Lara The Beat. Going forward, you're learning on each project so that you're more professional and getting the real art to speak for itself in quality and story. But then knowing the struggles that we've had to face, shooting with really extreme conditions, I can't even imagine what the veterans had to go through. They love the art of filmmaking, whether they knew it by theory or whether they came into it by experience. You can't take that away from them. And so for that, I feel like this threat of newbies coming into them, it's evolving, it's changing. Change is uncomfortable, but like I said, we better get with the program, otherwise we become a dinosaur.
So let's talk about the projects, your upcoming projects you're working on. I see Shay just dropped off. I was just about to ask her. But let's start with Somkele, since you were talking. What upcoming projects do you have?
So there's so now I'm even gonna show my, I was gonna say there's the one from Nigeria and there's
that's fine. You're an international actress.
Hey, no.
International.
But I'm hoping that everything, like I said, everybody watches it and they love it. Doesn't matter where it's from. But there's one I'm really excited about, called Soldier Story. We've been on it for a while. It's supposed to be a second installment of a trilogy. Hopefully we're going to the third one.
We're losing you. Your volume's going. Yeah, we're losing you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah, but put the volume up a bit if you can.
I didn't even do anything. Oh God.
Don't worry. No panic.
I guess I don't want me to talk about my projects.
Devil is a liar. Don't worry. Go on. Go on.
So like, there's just been a few cameos here and there. So like Tosin had mentioned, The Expanse. That's a sci-fi series. Very excited to work with them on that. That's on Amazon Prime. It was slated to be out in December, but given the situation, I think they're trying to move it up to September. So fingers crossed. I don't know when that will actually air, but no later than the end of that. So the story as well, Return from the Dead, that's supposed to be as well.
Yeah, the volume is still low.
Is this Soldier Story? Every time I say Soldier Story, the volume will now go.
Why don't you just...
Like that you came out.
You come out like story, and that's supposed to be coming out also later this year as well. And then there's also into fashion, and so we have a collection coming out. We're trying to shoot our campaign, so there's quite a bit of BTS work happening with the different things I'm involved in. Are some brands that I will be shooting some content for, hopefully very soon. So fingers crossed. Let's just stick to the Instagram. You will see there.
Okay, let's go next with Harold. Any upcoming projects?
Well, yes, some here and there. Right now, more like doing some of work for artificial intelligence cameras. Not so many talented in front of the camera, but more technical stuff. But it's good. It's good. The calendar is getting busy in this year that is have been very rough in everyone. So I'm very grateful for that.
Okay, Lala? I know you're busy with Nollywood.
Yeah, I mean, always busy, but I mean, the year has taken a new turn. I started off the year producing and directing a musical on stage, which was supposed to tour the rest of the year, but of course didn't tour. But so that happened, and that is now just chilling in the cooler. And then also started the year off being a co-producer on Netflix's first Nigerian original series, which also, yeah, thank you. I mean, that's so nice, but Corona happened.
Oh, Corona will go soon, don't worry.
Yeah,
Corona time.
anyway, I mean, so there's still that project, which will happen sometime next year here, but there's that, so we're just tweaking. So there's always that, at least until we get to shoot it. I'm also working on 2 films of my own. So I've worked so long as a producer for hire or a co-producer for hire, but I'm finally working on my own things. I'm going to be announcing one of them in September because I'm shooting it in October and I'm so excited. Yes, and I'm producing another film right after that. So those 2 films are hot on my table right now. In the middle of this pandemic, I produced a short film for a friend, which was something we just did in the spur of the moment.
Nice.
That will be ready soon. So yeah, we're just here working and developing and getting better. And
very good. Seyi, I see you're back. Upcoming projects?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, the network cut out. Upcoming projects. Yeah, I had to dial back in. I'm back now.
Okay.
Upcoming projects, yes. Well, I just released a single, a song called Twale, which means hailings or salute or yes, Twale.
I loved it.
Right. It's like it's street lingo, and it means salute or big up, shout out, and that features some really big street artists like YC, Zlatan, and Small Doctor. I released it yesterday on YouTube, so you guys could go check that out. That's kind of me getting into my roots, kind of connecting back with my roots and really going hard, going to the streets and just giving an ode to, you know, the people that work really hard and have worked really hard and in holding themselves down, their families down through the Corona period and throughout, you know, the hardships and the struggles of just living in Nigeria. So, and my fans really, and that's the first song I have released since my last single featuring Tiana Taylor, which was an international song. This is a more local song, and that last song was Give Me Love. So this song is called Twale. It's out now on all platforms, streaming everywhere. Video is on YouTube, and it's very exciting. My next project will be another single, and then another single before my body of work comes out in January, hopefully. So, you know, stay tuned, and yeah, that's pretty much it. More music for me, and hopefully more movies. Hopefully more movies.
Okay. Next, we'll go to John. Upcoming projects.
Whatever Tosin tells me. I mean, I'm in the middle of grad school right now, so it's, yeah, whatever Tosin tells me, whatever that project is, and then I'm on it, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Next, let's go to Temi, Miss Producer. On mute. Wait, hold on.
Well, you know, I'm working as an independent producer. So I'm producing something independently with an independent studio. And it should be, hopefully we should be in production sometime next year. So over here in the US. So that's what I'm up to.
Okay. And last but not the least, Mr. Director, what you have coming?
I mean, right now was, you know, Lara said, the Corona situation kind of like, you know, changed up on a whole lot of things. We have a few projects on the slate, some for streaming services, and a movie that John and I are currently, we've been talking about doing for a while. And we are now going full steam on that. And I have a horror picture that we're developing, all going to be done over here, but with the, you know, with the idea of actually bridging the West and Africa still. So it's a horror movie that we're going to be doing hopefully first quarter of next year. And then I have another project I'm doing first quarter of next year. So I think next year is going to be the busy year. This year is for development and rewriting and scripting and meetings and all that. But next year we have a few things on the slate to start moving. And we'll make announcements soon enough once I'm released to it.
To see actor here, audition, like actor here.
Definitely.
African actor here, just say.
I'm going to charge you for that, actually. So Tosin, about to wrap up now, like in the next 5 minutes. Tell us about the plans for distribution for Lara The Beat.
Well, distribution, we are in conversation with a lot of people. I would say that, US, UK, and I mean, at this point, I would say an announcement is going to be made soon. We're going to make a few of them.
I wonder what that is.
Yeah, yeah. I know, wink. But yeah, so we have been busy, you know, having meetings, and it's been great. I mean, the reception's been wonderful, and we would make an announcement soon. Once I'm released, say it. Right now, I'm just like, they're holding me back from saying it. So the announcement will be made very soon. Okay,
well, we know. Say anything else? I have one last question.
You know, I wanted to get everybody's perspective real quick on Beyonce's Black is King, just because I think that's one of the perspectives on the continent that comes from somebody stateside, and, you know, just feeling whether or not, you know, you thought it was authentic. But anybody who feels like chiming in, if you've seen it, you know, I'd be curious to hear what, you know, what the thoughts were on that, just because it's a conversation, and I think certainly stateside, a lot more people are talking about Africa in a lot of different ways.
Anybody seen it?
Okay, why are you laughing?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. John's Black and White, what?
Well, that's good to know. No one's seen it yet, then that's all right.
I've seen it.
Oh, you think, Lala, you saw it?
Yes.
Okay, what did you think?
I mean, I guess I'm a bit in the middle. You know, I'm able to appreciate the work and the excellence that went into making it. Also because there's a lot of, you know, talents from Nigeria, from South Africa, who got to work on something that the world will see. And I'm always like, look, once people are working and they're showing off what they can do, I am all for it. But I don't really think it's really about Africa authentically, personally.
Sure.
I just think it's great music. It's great work. I loved all the elements, like, you know, the art direction, you know, and so many of my people are in there, and I'm excited about that. But I guess I wasn't too excited about the narrative of Beyonce celebrating Africa or something. I'm like, she's just doing her music and doing it well, you know, excellently. But I definitely didn't jump on that whole Beyonce is putting Africa on the map narrative.
I can see why you say that. I can see, you know, I can see why you say that. I can actually see everybody. Yeah, I can actually see why you say that. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
This is the video with the blue dancer.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I was just looking for it. I will watch it later.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched either, which is actually quite shameful because I'm a musician. I'm a female musician, and most of my friends are actually featuring on that project, but I haven't seen it. However, I have to share Lala's sentiment on this one. I really don't think it's really about Africa on the map. I feel like it's more just about the, you know, the music and the creativity. I think Africa, the music industry, already on the map, and I feel like if you want to talk about artists that are putting Afrobeat and African music on the global map, you would have to go back to Fela Kuti, and then more recently people like Burna Boy, who's really putting his culture, his music, our music on the global map. I mean, look, his album is #1 worldwide. As an African artist, Nigerian artist, his album was, you know, streaming over 5 million streams in 1 hour globally on the day of release. So this is the kind of people, Wizkid, David O, who toured all over the world tirelessly, Yemi Alade, Tiwa Savage. I think these people are the people that are really putting Nigerian music and Africa on the global map. I don't think Beyonce is the, I think Beyonce is putting us as Nigeria her project, and that's that. But I think that we are doing so much more for ourselves and our culture, our movies and our music than Beyonce could or ever will, right? And that's just the point here. So the narrative of her putting Africa on the map and all this blah, 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 I think I share Lala's sentiment. I don't think that's true. I just think that's just the PR thing. So I'm even more stoked about Nollywood, you know, doing this and big announcement, and you know, and just and Nollywood having their own, pretty much Netflix being in Africa and Nigeria now, and how, you know, it's just like this is what's putting us on the map, not Beyonce and such. So that's it.
Wow, wow! I wasn't expecting that, but I totally agrees, and part of me agrees with the other narrative, just because of, you know, the mass platform she has. I think that's what.
No, I agree, but I just think that like the mass platform she has is really, I think what she's doing is fantastic. You know, I mean, I just agree 100% with what Lala said. I think everything she's doing is fantastic. The artistry, the quality, you know, what she has done with the Nigerian artists and the African artists is unbelievable. It's impeccable. It's beautiful. But I think that we put ourselves on the map, and that's why she to us.
Yes.
Right. And same thing we did in Hollywood. Same thing, right? So that's it.
With no government support.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nollywood. Exactly. So that's it, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, so last question, and then we're going to wrap up. I'd like each of you to give us last words, like words of inspirations to upcoming, singers, writers, filmmakers. So we will start with Tosin, since we always put you last.
For upcoming filmmakers, I always say, do not be afraid to dream. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a dream, push forward with it. Do not let whatever it is stop you. Nothing should stop you from going forward to your dream, because the moment you start living your dream, at least the moment you start working towards living your dream, you're working towards living your purpose. You know what I mean? And know why you're doing what you're doing. Are you called to do it, or you just want to do it for whatever superficial reason? But dare to dream and stand to create. Those are my last words.
Dare to dream and stand to create. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, I like that. Harold?
Amazing, Tosin. Amazing words. I stand alone to this guy and forever with you, my brother. That's for sure. And now more than ever that you have a camera in your phone, anybody can shoot a movie. And there is that. It's like nowadays it's way easier to shoot a movie, to make your ideas come to life. Before, for me, I was like always struggling working any type of job to buy a camera. And now everybody have a camera. So it's kind of like now it's more than ever. Just go for it. Dare to dream and amazing words, Tosin. Yeah.
John?
I guess to other writers or future writers, always be curious, experiment, but also you gotta love the process. To continue to push through, like you have to keep writing, you have to trust the process, you have to love it, but also make us care. That's like the commandment in storytelling. Make us care. Whatever it ends up being, just make us care and give us an experience, But yeah, be curious.
Make us care. I like that. Somkele?
I was looking forward to the next person. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Just stay. I think when you're closer to the computer, I can hear you better.
Okay. Yes. Okay, great. So my final word, I guess someone in film would be that just be. Don't act, just be. That story that you think is fiction is not. It comes from a place, and the writer paid homage to where it comes from.
Yeah, we're losing you again. We're losing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better. Yeah.
Okay, so I was just saying, take each role as sacred, because it is sacred, and just be. And I think my next point is you're not supposed to play every single character. There's the one that has your name on it. And when it calls, answer. But please, it is never a competition. Trust me, when you know the process of casting, you will try to look with their eyes and see that there's just some people who are called to play certain roles. And it's not that one person's better than you. It's just more, there's just a better fit. That's the best fit. There's the better fit, there's a good fit, but then there's the best fit. And it has nothing to do with how well you speak, how long your hair is. It's nothing physical. Film is spiritual. And I'll tell you that firsthand. There is no film that I've been a part of that didn't have a spiritual imprint. So
I totally agree with that. I always say to my friend, it's a spirit. It really is a spirit. And when that spirit catches you, you just have to answer. You have to answer the call. Shay, words of inspiration?
My word of inspiration to upcoming aspiring musicians, singers, even actors now. They can say I'm an actress.
You sure are?
It's really just don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to just being a thing. If you're an entertainer, if you want to be an entertainer, be an entertainer. Try different aspects of entertainment. And I will say that to you because I am doing it, I have done it, and it is so rewarding when you broaden your horizon, you broaden your mind, and you broaden your entertaining qualities and talents, and because it's really important to love what you do and be fulfilled from what you do, and it's really important to stretch yourself as well, and stretch your abilities, and stretch your knowledge, and stretch your talent. It's just so much more rewarding. And I would say just, give it a go. Just give it a go, and don't give up. Don't ever give up. I've been doing music for many, many years. Involved into acting, I've evolved into public speaking, I've evolved into production, and honestly, I can truly say I feel really fulfilled right now, and I'm really waiting for, expecting what's coming next. And that's what I think comes with broadening your horizons. So stretch your mind, broaden your horizons, don't give up, and let it all flow to you.
Let it all flow to you, she says. Lala.
Everybody's so deep, man. Jeez.
now.
Yeah, anyways, John stole my idea, because I always say yes to the process. To anybody coming up, you have to say yes to the process. You cannot cheat the process. And don't network only vertically, network horizontally, because collaborations make dreams come alive quicker.
I like that. I got everybody correct. Madam co-producer, Temi?
Well, I think I'll just give my perspective from being a creative, a filmmaker as well, and producer. I feel like it's important for people to tell the stories that matter to you, because nobody has had the privilege to walk your walk. So don't be afraid to have a unique perspective or story, because therein lies something different and new.
Okay, folks. You can all unmute, actually. Let me, if you can all unmute yourselves, because we're about to wrap up. We did it! We did it. So say thank you very much. Harold, Lala, John, Somkele, Tosin, Temi.
Thank you.
Margaret, intern. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you so much, Mojisola.
It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. So we're going to go now. Thank you all very much for coming. Follow us, please, on African Film Arts on all social media platforms and AfricanFilmArtsFoundation.org. Our next screening will be next month, and it will be a film it was shot in Ivory Coast by a filmmaker from Burkina Faso, and stars Jimmy, oh my God.
Jimmy
Embarrassing myself now. Yes. So that's the next film we'll be screening, and hopefully we should have a filmmaker for the talkback. She lives in Burkina Faso, so it's probably going to be on your same time zone. So, we'll maybe try and make it earlier next time, because I know it's late your time. So I really appreciate all of you being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. It was great seeing everyone again.
See you soon.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.